Today I'm focusing on the Strat bridge pickup. I'm going to be comparing two Seymour Duncan pickups, this single coil quarter pounder and this single coil size humbucker, the Hot Rails. They're both high output pickups, and according to Seymour Duncan's website they're meant to transform your Strats, but how do they compare? Let's find out. Hi, I'm Alexis. Welcome to Alexis Guitars, a channel all about guitar gear reviews, demos and comparisons. Now when it comes to Strats, I think most people are in agreement that the neck position is awesome. A single coil in the neck position of a Strat is the Strat tone for me. The middle pickup and a bridge pickup is where things get a bit trickier for me. Now don't get me wrong, I do love a classic Strat bridge pickup, but for the music I play it just doesn't quite deliver. That's why I'm going to be focusing on these two pickups in particular. I tend to play hard rock, classic rock, blues rock, so I need something that can handle that level of gain without sounding too thin or brittle. For a single coil pickup, the quarter pounder is on the higher end of the DC resistance spectrum, and the Hot Rails is the highest output passive humbucker for Strats that Seymour Duncan offer. So I thought these two pickups would make a good comparison, not only to see which one I prefer, but more importantly, just to see what differences to expect. But first, let's take a closer look at the pickups. The Seymour Duncan website says that the quarter pounder bridge position measures 13.k ohms in the bridge. My one actually measures 13.8k ohms, so it's a little bit hotter. It has an Alnico 5 magnet, and it's designed to transform a Strat, producing thick, punchy tones with lots of top end. Now the notable thing about these pickups are the 1/4 inch diameter magnets. These are apparently intended to bring out high end as well as upper mid-range harmonics. Richie Blackmore is named on the description page of these pickups, so I guess we're going for hard rock tones. Now the Hot Rails bridge pickup, which I've got installed in this pickguard here, is meant to come in at 16.6k ohms, and mine comes in pretty close at 16.4k. This pickup is also intended to transform a Strat, but this time into a completely different instrument. It has a ceramic magnet, and it's noted for its mid-range push, which is really notable when you look at the tone chart on the Seymour Duncan website, which I'll have on the screen here as well. This is meant to be an aggressive, crunchy pickup which is specifically designed for rock and metal tones. So there's going to be 3 parts to this sound test: clean, crunch and higher gain. I'm going to give you my thoughts after each one as well as my overall thoughts at the end. To make this comparison as fair and helpful as possible, I used the same guitar going into the same amp, and I used the same amp and pedal settings when I used pedals for both pickups. I'm going to show you those amp and pedal settings before each sound test so you know what the settings are. So humbuckers are best paired with 500k pots and single coils best paired with 250k pots. So rather than strip the whole thing, I ended up using a different pickguard for the humbucker, so I installed the 500k pots for humbucker, a different capacitor into this, and I ended up just swapping out the pickguard rather than installing everything on the same one. Now on the humbucker pickguard, there's obviously only one pickup on it. I don't think that makes a difference to the tone, but if you do, you can bear that in mind. Now both pickups are inherently different, so it didn't make sense to me to keep them at the same height relative to the strings, so I just put them where I thought sounded best. So you're going to be hearing all of this through the orange Terra stamp going into the 2 notes cab M, simulating an orange 2x12 cab with vintage 30s. That's the audio you're going to be hearing. What I'm hearing is the orange Terra stamp going into this 1x12 Harley Benton cab, also with a vintage 30 in it, so what I'm hearing in the room should be very similar to the audio you're going to be hearing in this video. If you enjoy this video, please do me a favour, hit that thumbs up button, and if you're new here and enjoy content like this, please do consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything from me in the future. Alright, on to the tone test. So that was the clean test, and I think that made the differences between the two pickups immediately apparent. Though the quarter pounder isn't your typical Strat bridge pickup, I could still hear a really nice clear jangliness to the tone, whereas with the Hot Rails I could really hear that mid-hump. Now, despite the differences in the EQ qualities of both pickups, they both sounded great, they both had a great clarity, both usable tones there, but I think I have to give this sound test to the quarter pounder, the single coil. It just sounded better to me. On to the crunch test. On the crunch test, they both sounded really good to me. These are both great pickups for rock tones. The quarter pounder sounded a bit looser to me, whereas the Hot Rails was a bit more held together, more contained, a bit tighter. Now, I found the Hot Rails really interesting because there were times when I was riffing where I felt that maybe it was a bit too mid-focused. But then I played that bluesy solo lick, and it sounded awesome. I think at this level of gain, the quarter pounder packs a real punch and sounds awesome. But I think I'm leaning slightly towards the Hot Rails. Let me know what you think in the comments below. On to the high gain test. Well, that was the higher gain sound test, and I was particularly interested in this one because both pickups are designed for rock, i.e. higher gain tones. Both absolutely delivered. Now the Hot Rails is absolutely a more modern high gain pickup compared to the Quarter Pounder, but both sounded great. The difference to me is that the Hot Rails has more body to the tone, it's tighter sounding, and I absolutely love that mid-range hump it gives. Whereas the Quarter Pounders, to my ears at least, were more on the trebly end, they were brighter, and with some of the palm muty stuff it sounded a little bit looser. I still think the Quarter Pounders pulled off the palm muty stuff, but I think the Quarter Pounders sound best for higher gain classic rock rather than metal tones. Okay, well now you've heard all three sound tests. Let me know in the comments below which one you preferred and why. So what do I think after all that? Well, what I love about the Quarter Pounders is that it still retains some stratness to it, but it can handle higher levels of gain really well. If you want that single coil sound but tend to play hard rock or higher gain heavy stuff, this might just be the pickup for you. I would say that it does transform a Strat, but nowhere near as much as the Hot Rails does. With the Hot Rails in a bridge position, it didn't sound like I was playing through a Strat, it sounded completely different, but it sounded awesome, especially as the gain increased. If tighter, more modern sounding tones are what you're after, then I don't think you can go wrong with the Hot Rails. It is an awesome pickup. Cleans were okay, definitely usable tones, but as the gain increased, especially when playing leads, it just sings. I absolutely loved it. Now after doing this sound test, I was initially struggling to decide which one to keep in. In an ideal world, I'd have two Strats, one for each pickup, but that's not the case. In the end, I decided to keep the single coils in because until I get another guitar to install the Hot Rails in, I do want a Stratty single coil tone in my collection. But that's no problem for me because I do have the Hot Rails installed on this pickguard here with all the electronics ready to go, so when I do want to take things up a gear, I can just simply swap the pickguards out. Alright, well I think I'm going to leave a video there for today. Thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed it and that you found this helpful. That's all from me today. Till next time.